What's good, y'all? Shagan Makai. Welcome back to my channel. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, and every subscriber helps. Over here on this channel, we make daily NBA content. So if you enjoy the NBA as much as I do, please subscribe. And today we're going to be talking about how Paul George just signed a max extension with the Los Angeles Clippers, and what I think it means for the present and the future, and just if I think it's overall a good signing by the Clippers. And newsflash, I do think it's a great signing by the Clippers because people are too focused on the short-term effects of it. You got to realize when you give up all those assets for a guy and he's not giving you any assurance that he's gonna stay, because if he didn't sign his extension, he was eligible with a player option next year, I think, or maybe the year after that. But he was eligible soon to be able to leave a free agency. And when your two best players are the type to just bounce and dip when they don't like a situation, like Kawhi and PGR, it's very, very frustrating to not have commitment long term from them. So just props to the Clippers for getting long term commitment from one of their stars. So now that they locked Paul George up, the question is, can they lock Kawhi up? We're gonna see about that. But people tend to forget Paul George is still a top 15 guy. He's still a lockdown two-way guy who's a great shot creator in this league. People act like because the Clippers blew the 3-1 lead last year, while that was all time disappointing, embarrassing, just trash overall, they're still going to be a good team this year. They're still probably going to be the second team in the West. They're still probably going to be the biggest challenge in the West, to the Lakers. But 5 years, $226 million at face value for a guy like Paul George, and based on what he's done recently, it does look like a lot of money, because when you do the math, it's about $45 million a year, and he's gonna be getting paid that until like his mid 30s, like 34, 35. So by that time, if he's still, I don't expect him to be at the level that he is right now, because not everybody's LeBron, not everybody can play well into their mid 30s. Like, not everybody's gonna age that well, but hopefully he can age that well. It'll be amazing, but I'm not expecting something like that. But that contract is very tradable, because let's say next year, a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo is on the market. He says he's not re-signing with Milwaukee. He wants to leave. The Clippers definitely have a path now, a shot to trade him and sign and trade for Paul George and Giannis, because if Giannis decides to leave, I'm pretty sure the Bucks don't want to just be left dangling in the wind with Chris Middleton and Dante DiVincenzo and Brook Lopez, guys like that. I'm pretty sure they don't want to just be stuck like that. So a scenario I see that's very, very possible: the Clippers do a sign and trade with the Bucks. The Clippers get Giannis, and the Bucks get Paul George. And now you have such a big contract that it makes the money work. I'm not saying that the Clippers should first be looking to trade Paul George, but I'm just saying, like, this contract isn't the end of the world for the Clippers, because they do have to keep their options open. They have to be flexible, because they gave up a lot of their future for Paul George. So for them to just give up on him after one season, and I see a lot of people on Twitter saying this is a stupid contract, and I don't know how they gave him this much money, and Paul George is trash. Now, while I do agree that he does struggle significantly in the playoffs, overall as a player, I don't think Paul George should be getting questioned when he gets this kind of money, because he is a big time player. It's just that when it comes to the playoffs, he does shrink, definitely. But I don't think he'll have an all-time terrible playoffs like he did last year. And to tell the truth, the playoffs he had last year, it wasn't as bad as people make it seem. Like, it was less than you would expect from a guy like Paul George, but it wasn't like he was averaging 5 points or something crazy like that. But yeah, my thoughts on the whole Paul George contract signing situation: I think it's a good signing by the Clippers. They finally got a guy to commit long term. They finally got a star. Because at the end of the day, Paul George is still a star. Fans are gonna come to see Paul George. Fans are gonna want to pay money to see Paul George, even if Kawhi leaves. And I think Paul George is a big enough name to attract another free agent if Kawhi decides to leave, because Kawhi, he can leave next year. He's in the free agency class of 2021. So I think if Kawhi decides to bounce, at least they have Paul George locked up in case they want to trade him for assets, get some of that draft capital back, or if they use Paul George's name as a lure, to get another free agent in this class. But yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on the whole Paul George contract signing situation. If you see anything in this video, thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.